Hey everybody, welcome to our Artist Fireside chat with Daniella Attfield. Thank you for being here. Everybody who is in the Stream Text channel, please make sure that you click on Alegria's name and watch his stream so you can see everything we're sharing. And as people are coming in, we're talking with Daniella Attfield. She's a really amazingly talented artist from South Africa, right?
Yes, thank you.
And I'll just get started. My first question for you is, how did you get into creating art? What was your journey into becoming a professional artist?
Artist or crypto artist?
Both.
I've always drawn since I was little. I think maybe when I was 2 or 3, I did my first drawing. My parents still have it, which is cool.
Aww.
So that's been a long-term journey, and I've always drawn all throughout high school. I had like no social life at all. I just spent the whole time at home drawing, but it was what I loved to do, so that was great. And I got into crypto art because my boyfriend's dad he's actually a coder, and he got very into crypto in, I think, the end of 2017. And he told me that I should join Super Rare, so I did at the time, and it was a lot easier to get in then, which was great. So I got in and I uploaded some things, and then it's been going from there. It's been really great.
Wow. And when was that?
I think that was early 2018, but I did some stuff and then forgot about it, and then I got a bid in sometime last year, and then I thought, well, if I'm making art anyway, it's great if I can sell it. I do love it. So then I started working on it harder and uploading more things. So that I've been active since July last year.
Wow, that's really cool. So what was the first piece that bid, that got a bid on it?
If you keep scrolling down, it's all the way at the bottom. There's 2. So it's those 2.
Oh, yeah, I was
actually very different from what I do now, but I was figuring out.
Yeah, I was looking at your work and I was curious. I saw that the styles are very different, and I was curious, like how your style evolved and like what was your inspiration?
I really like etching, especially from the kind of older books where they have illustrations. So that's why I did the line drawing. And it was also inspired by tarot cards.
Yeah, these are really beautiful.
Thank you.
If it'll ever look
okay. I try with a lot of different styles, but this one's the most fun.
So you actually they look like lino cuts. Do you have experience doing that, like actual linoleum cut work?
I think I did it once in design in high school, and the teacher told me that it was not very good. So that was the last time I did that.
I can't believe that was the teacher's feedback. Like, these are really amazing. And I just look at them and I thought that some of them look like lino cuts that were just colorized in Photoshop. Like it just really has that hand done feel to it.
Thank you. That's the goal. Hopefully she can look at it one day and feel bad about being rude.
She will feel very silly when she sees how much ETH your work sold for, and I'm sure she'll feel very funny knowing that. I would love to see a picture of her face.
No, she was actually very nice. It's hard with teaching art because it's a very sort of specific and personal thing, and her style and mine didn't really line up.
Yeah, that's so true. When it comes to art teachers, it's like being an art teacher. To be a good teacher, you have to be really good at separating your personal taste as you're like critiquing your students' work, I think,
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah, for sure.
I was lucky that that was my design teacher, so I quit design after that. not much. Well, not long after that, because I thought, well, I can't work with a teacher that doesn't really like my style. Nothing against it, just it's hard. My visual art teacher, which is more like painting and drawing instead of design, and she was great, and she liked my style, so that helped a lot.
So just backtracking a little bit, when you were introduced to NFTs and you did your first mint on Super Rare, what were you thinking? Were you thinking that was like, that it might not really work? Or like, did you have any faith in this idea of tokenizing your art?
At that time, it was so new that I didn't really expect anything from it. That was like early 2018. And I still got bids in, and I was very excited about it because I just finished school. So any money was really quite a lot of money, especially for art, which I did anyway. But I didn't really think about it too much. And then after a while, I thought, well, I guess if I had to do this all the time, I could make enough to maybe survive off my art, and that would be really great.
Sorry, I need to unmute myself. Yeah, I mean, it's so great that this came to be. It feels like now more and more artists are able to basically quit their day job, and they can now have the means to focus on what really, makes them happy, what they're passionate about.
Yes, yeah, I see so much of that on Twitter. So many people saying that they can finally do what they love, and it's really, really inspiring because I don't think there's been really any other time where artists could successfully fully rely on themselves.
No, not like this, and not with this feeling that there's room for everybody to do that.
Exactly.
Like it doesn't feel like I mean, I'll ask you before I give my opinion, like, what do you, because I think some people are a little concerned about mainstream artists coming into the space, or these like really big, like investors that don't really have any interest in art or creativity, but they just want to see how they can get in on this and make money. But what do you think about mainstream artists coming into the NFT space right now?
Well, I think if it will show in the sales, because if people like their work, then they'll do well, and if they don't, then they won't. So I guess you have to be good no matter who you are. I mean, I suppose your name would sell it for you. I think like with Lindsay Lohan's art. But it's exposure, and that would help other new artists start. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's creating more attention on artists that, now that there's more eyes on the space, maybe some artists that weren't getting seen will be noticed.
And I think that's definitely more important than anything. The more people that can survive off their creativity, the better.
Yes, definitely. I think the world would be a much brighter place if more people were getting paid to do what they love, whether it's art or, carpentry or just something that makes them happy. Like, the world would just be, I think, much more.
If you didn't grow up thinking that the only options were lawyers, doctors, or that kind of thing, which is great and we need them, but it's not the only option.
Right, it's not the only option, and like just the option that like you have to work for somebody else.
Yes.
I feel like the way things used to be, before, I guess, the Industrial Revolution and things like that, it was much more, like we were all independent contractors basically, and we traded our goods and services. Yeah, but now
it's like a butcher, and there's kind of lots of small shops rather than a huge mall that had everything.
Yeah, and even like I'm talking like even before storefronts and things like that, like, it just feels more natural for humanity to have a more free way of working. That's like you're not entirely tied down. Now artists can do collaborations with different people, and like I feel like as an artist you always had to have a day job, and like didn't really have time to do all kinds of different things. So it just opens up more opportunity, I think.
Yeah, no, it does. And growing up as an artist, you just hear from pretty much everybody that you can't rely on it, that you should do another job to back it up, you won't make enough money. And it's not very inspiring. So I was absolutely surprised being here, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. Actually, I noticed the piece that I have on the screen now. When you dropped it only a week ago, it was bid on for 3 ETH, which is nearly $5,000, and in US dollars, and then a day later it was resold again for 8,612 US dollars.
It was actually about 40 minutes after the original sale went through that it sold again, which is very weird.
40 minutes.
Yeah, it was really weird.
I
don't know why they didn't buy it directly, but I'm not complaining. I just thought it was very funny.
Yeah, I mean, this is a beautiful piece. Like, I don't blame them for, bidding on it to get their own hands on it, because it's a single edition and it's very enchanting. I really love the mood of it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the first of the series with the planets that I'm gonna do.
Ooh, how many?
Next.
Oh, cool. And so far, this was the first one. So
yes.
Okay, cool. And do you believe that there are 9 planets, or I'm sorry, 9?
Do I believe Pluto is a planet?
Do you believe Pluto is a planet? Yeah.
Yes, Pluto is definitely a planet. Okay, I grew up learning about Pluto.
Me too.
Yeah, I felt quite upset when it was
rejected. I was hurt. I was like, this is what they told us in school, and it's still there. It didn't go away. Like, why are we?
Just because it's little doesn't mean that it's not a valid. Yeah, shame.
100%. So how are you going to be releasing each of the planets? Is it like once a month, once a week, or just as the muse hits you?
Yeah, probably as it comes, but maybe once or twice a month.
Nice. Yeah, these are really great.
Yeah, and I'm going to try base the personality of the character on the planet.
Nice. This one's really beautiful. And right now Mercury is in retrograde. So for anyone who follows that stuff, if you've been experiencing a lot of like weird stuff with your electronics, or like things being wonky, like you can go ahead and blame Mercury for that. So backing up a little bit, I saw that you had done a collaboration with Michael. Let me pull that up. On this Dali piece. What was that like? Can you talk about like the logistics of doing a collaboration with another NFT artist?
I work really well with Michael, actually. I usually do the drawing first, my half of it, and then I give it to him and he adds on top of it, and it's pretty much done then. Like, there's not a lot of backwards and forwards, which is nice. So I've done quite a lot of collaborations with him.
Oh, cool. So how does it work? Do you guys like have a concept in mind beforehand, or do you just do whatever you want and then he works off of that?
No, we usually decide on something first. Something that we think would look good with both of our styles. And both of our styles are kind of like glowing colors on black, usually, so that they work pretty well together.
Yeah, when I first saw this on Rarible, I didn't realize that it wasn't entirely yours until I read the description. Like, your styles really mesh well together.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work sometimes when people do. I feel like sometimes it's hard to make it look good. So like one artist might be maybe bending their style a little bit to make it work, or they don't bend their style, and it's hard.
No, it is hard. All the collaborations I've done so far have worked really well, which is great.
That's awesome. So, and I have like a sort of technical question, like how does it work with the logistics of receiving commissions? Like if you're collaborating on it, how do you, is it just like an honor system? Like, okay, I'll split the commission with you and I'll send it to you into your wallet if it sells.
With this particular one, we did 5 editions each. So then it's just half of the editions from each of us.
That's simple.
There was also one where I just released it, and then I did mention that I'm quite forgetful, so I'll try keep track of submissions, but otherwise you must just let me know if you notice that anything sold that I haven't. And then there's also known origin, which we've done, which is great because that actually you can add it as a collaboration and it splits up the profits and commission. So we've been doing that more recently.
Oh, good on known origin. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, no, it's really great. I don't need to worry about being forgetful because I am that way.
Do you, speaking of different minting platforms, do you have a preference, or would you recommend one over the other for new crypto artists?
I think it's OpenSea and Rarible are really great if you are in the process of applying to the other ones, the ones where you need an application, like Maker's Place and Known Origin and Super Rare. But I think more collectors prefer the ones where you need an application because then it shows, usually it sets a standard, and it's then easier to find an audience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but they're all great.
Yeah. But basically Rarible and OpenSea are pretty good for beginners though.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, sort of, you had mentioned, backing up because we have a question from Demon Tiger. You had mentioned that you collab often with other artists. Who else have you done collaborations with?
I did collaboration with Christy Glass.
Oh, you've had her.
I did one with Tato, who's also a South African artist. That was the most recent one. There's Mont Blanc as well. I did sort of remake of the Marilyn Monroe by Andy Warhol.
Was that on Known Origin?
Yeah, that one's on Known Origin. And that one's also a 1 out of 1. So we're doing a series of 10. But each one is a 1 out of 1 and the color scheme is different.
Cool. I'm going to see if I can pull that up to show people. In the meantime, while I'm trying to pull that up, which piece for you was the biggest learning experience for you, and how have you learned from it as an artist and also as a NFT artist?
I think the first one in this line art style was probably the best because I realized that people really liked it, and it's quite a unique style. So that was Aries, which was the Ram on Super Rare.
Oh yeah, that was the first one that I showed. I'll pull that up really quick for anyone who wasn't here before that.
Yeah, and it's just nice to see kind of a positive reaction, especially because you kind of make art in your own bubble and you don't necessarily think about what other people think about it.
Yeah.
So it's, I make it anyway, but it's really nice if there's a positive response.
And speaking of like getting stuck in your head or we're not getting stuck in your head and just making art because it's pleasurable and not thinking about what other people think. Do you ever have moments where you get stuck creatively, and like what do you do to get out of those moments?
Yeah, I do have those. Sometimes I just do something else because forcing myself to make art doesn't always work. And other times, it really depends how stuck I am. If I'm very stuck, I know that I just have to go and do something else. But if I'm moderately stuck, then I kind of just try sketching, and that usually loosens me up, and I can get new ideas.
And are you doing like pencil to paper, or are you using like Procreate? Actually, yeah.
I use Procreate.
Oh, cool.
But I do also draw by hand. But these days I draw on the iPad. Sketching is nicer on the iPad because it's easier to erase your mistakes.
I still haven't had a chance to play with the new iPad or even Procreate, but I've just seen so much stunning work done with it that I'm like really excited to play with it at some point.
Yeah, no, it's really fun. There's so many brushes and things you can use.
Yeah, it seems like it's really versatile, and I don't know, they've just improved the technology so much on these sketch programs in the iPad that it's like you don't have
iPad's
to.
Really nice.
Yeah, like and you don't have to use so artists don't have to invest in like Paint or Photoshop or this one's really gorgeous.
And also the drawing tablets. I always felt disconnected when I was drawing on the tablets because you're not drawing on your drawing, you're drawing on a separate thing which appears on your screen. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I agree. I feel the same way trying to illustrate with the tablet too. It's like it's just hard to make it do it's hard to make it do what your hand wants it to do sometimes. Yeah. I think this piece is really awesome. How did you animate this piece?
Yeah, animated by hand. So I just draw the lines. Yeah, it took a while. It was fun.
It was still fun to draw lines obsessively for hours and hours. I
already draw them obsessively for hours and hours, so what's a little bit more?
How long does it take you to complete pieces like this?
Well, that one took longer than most of them because it was very detailed, and I didn't want to mess it up because it's such a beautiful piece. It's like, if it's my own art, then there's nothing to compare it to. But if it's a remix, then it's, you want it to live up to the original.
Yeah, this is a dope remix.
Sorry?
I said, this is a dope remix.
Oh, thank you.
It's like a jungle drum and bass remix of Van Gogh.
Yeah, usually it takes sort of 2 days of working to do a piece, but I've been trying to work on them longer now and make more detailed ones. So then that takes a bit longer.
My internet's a little bit slow, but I'm trying to pull up some more of these animated pieces. They're really fantastic. Yeah. Where is your main source of inspiration? Like, who are your biggest creative influences?
In general or in the NFT space?
Both.
I really like book illustrations. There's a illustrator called Chris Riddell, and he does a lot of children's books. He also does kind of like a line art style, which I really like. So he was a big inspiration. And there's also another artist who does, I think, adult coloring books, and he's called Kirby Rosane, and he's great as well. And then within this space, there's actually way too many artists to list them all, but Christy Glass is amazing, and I was very glad to have done the collaboration with her and to see her process. There's Adam Frieda, who does kind of landscape scenes. There's Tato as well, who's the South African artist. He does 3D sculptures. Yeah, there's so many. I'll be going on for a very long time if I list them all.
And like, even just conceptually, what inspires you? Kind of related to the question I asked before, like when you get stuck, like what do you do to get inspired? Like maybe not necessarily from other artists, but like other hobbies maybe, or music?
Yeah, no, I like music. I often imagine music videos in my head. That probably does help. Not the actual music video, I sort of make my own one. And I really, just sitting outside and looking at nature is also really great, because a lot of my inspiration is from nature and plants. And movies. There's a Beetlejuice there on your screen. I love movies.
Yeah. I love that movie too. This one's, excuse my internet, folks. This one's great. It's such a mood too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's
yeah.
different. I did that for Halloween. I usually use lots of colors, but that one was for Halloween, so I did black and white. And I actually really like it. It's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love this one. And it still kind of captures his goofiness, but there was definitely dark parts in the movie that you know, I don't know, this like really reflects it. It's cool. Like when I didn't see that movie for years and I watched it again, I was like, wow, this is like a lot. It's hilarious, but it's a lot darker than I remember.
Yeah, it is.
Like existentially.
Yeah, you don't notice really when you're little, but then when you rewatch it, you're kind of thinking, oh, yikes.
Yeah. I love your portraits of these musical artists like Lady Gaga and okay, well, she doesn't want to load, so we're gonna look at Prince. Yeah, Prince is definitely one of my favorites, and I see Sat's Moon is one of the owners of this piece, which is super cool.
Yes.
And then of course Bowie. This one is my jam. So what other musical artists are you interested in? What do you listen to when you're drawing?
Mostly 80s music, which I'm sure you can guess from all my drawing.
Same here. Yeah, I can tell pretty similar taste to you when it comes to music here.
Yeah, and I wasn't even alive then, so I'm not. Yeah, I don't know.
I know.
I think it's all my parents.
I'm like, wow, you're 22, but you. I feel like I'm talking to somebody who was born in the mid 80s.
I did say previously that I'm like an old lady.
Yes, I am totally an old lady.
Even knit. I knit, I read, and I've got a cat. So
you knit and you read and you've got a cat.
I'm already old, basically.
So I actually see some questions from our chat. We have a question from Ivy, which is, how did you first communicate with your followers or collectors to bid on your artwork? That's a really good question.
On Twitter, mostly. And then I think you kind of have to keep reminding people because not everyone's online all the time and sometimes you miss people. But that means you have to have people following you and people who actually like your work. So it's good to build a community of artists and collectors.
Yeah, definitely. I know it's for an artist. I go through the same thing. Like you tweet once and you're like, oh, I already tweeted it 24 hours ago. I should wait like another day. But there's so much that's being posted in people's feeds that, like, if you don't vouch for yourself and if you don't continually post, it will get lost in the shuffle. So
yeah, no, it does. And it's hard as an artist because you don't necessarily think you're that amazing that you should be telling everybody about yourself all the time. But you kind of have to, otherwise, no one knows you best.
Yeah, and of course, typically artists are their own worst critic and feel funny talking about themselves, but at the same time, we still want to be seen and want to make
it's difficult.
Their work. It's like such a ridiculous, like inconsistent like way of thinking. Like it just doesn't jive. But I mean, somehow artists make it work despite that. Despite the negative.
You have to pretend that you really, really confident.
Yeah, I mean, your work is just gorgeous. I mean, I'm sure that like as you see that people are recognizing you, that it becomes harder and harder to just say like, oh shucks, like at some point you've got to be like, these people can't all be lying to you.
No, like I still am like that though. I'm kind of like, but why?
Same.
They're gonna realize I'm not that good.
Oh my gosh, the imposter syndrome is so real.
It's really hard.
Yeah. So to sum up that question, the response to that question, keep putting yourself out there, post on Twitter.
Pretend you're someone else. It's easier to market your art. If you're thinking like, if it was someone else, I would market it for them. So I would keep myself.
That is such good advice. Yeah, pretend you're promoting your best friend who's an artist and you want them to do really well.
Yeah, exactly. Because then you would really go overboard with promotion.
Yeah. Oh, that's such good advice. So I have a question from Lang. What problems would you love to be fixed in regards to creating NFT art besides gas costs at the moment?
Sure, yeah, gas, especially at the moment. I think there should be ways for new artists to be discovered more easily. Like if, let's say, super rare, known origin, rareable, if they made collections, like new artists who've joined, or just something that makes it easier. As more and more people join the space, I think it's going to be harder and harder for people to discover new creators, especially because when there's so much stuff, you just get hidden amongst it. So it would be cool if there were like collections of art, that like weekly rotations of new artwork by people who weren't famous artists.
Yeah, like a weekly new featured artists sort of, a gallery that would be like the first thing that you see,
Yes.
you know, versus just the drops on artists that you know they're going to sell out in less than 10 minutes for bazillion dollars.
Yeah, which is also important and great, but the new people need help getting established.
Yes, and I'm sure they will. I feel really confident in this space that, as it starts to become more popular, that more and more people are going to be able to have varying levels of success. And it's not necessarily like, oh, they're going to be millionaires, but like they'll be able to sustain their lives through this.
Yeah, being an artist, that's a really big thing. Like, I don't care about being a millionaire, but being able to draw every day and that's my job, that's all I want. And I've got that right now, so it's wonderful.
Yeah, and just in the gift of being able to do it in your own time and like not having to scramble for commissions or anything. Like
commissions.
Those are very, very stressful. Yeah, I'm a designer as well, and it can. And especially commission work is. I feel like it's so much pressure too. Like, someone gives you a deposit, and then you're like, I gotta make it perfect. And then for me,
there's usually a lot of changes as well.
Yes, a lot of changes, and it's not even for me when I do commissions, I'm doing all the changes before a client even sees it. I've done like 50 versions, and I'm like, this ain't it. It's like, oh man, like it's part of the reason why I'm like, this is just this technology, this space is such a boon for artists because it's not sustainable to work that way either. Like,
no, it's so exhausting.
It's exhausting. Yeah, you can only take on so many clients at once, and they're only paying you so much.
I know.
This is just
and it really kills it for you. Like when you keep changing things over and over and over again, especially when you liked it in the first place. They didn't like it. You have to change it, and eventually, it's not even anything you'd make. It's just to please them. And I nearly gave up on art when I was doing that the whole time. I thought, no, it's like better to do something else and not hate art, and have a different career. And then this came, and it was like perfect timing, so I'm really glad.
So good. Yeah, especially at 22, like you didn't have to spend 10 years like working at a job that you hate or whatever. Like you're still fresh and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and like positive about the world. So, I mean, it's really great. Yeah. Like we've talked to a number of artists that are in their early 20s and not even 20 yet, and they're a working artist already. It's like the best thing.
It's fantastic because a lot of the time I think artists are they do spend a lot of adolescence drawing, and they're usually quite good by the time they're sort of reaching 20. Like Ferocious is 18 and he's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know how they're so young and their success was just like catapulted. I remember seeing their tweet the first time that they sold a piece for like 1 or 2 ETH or something, and they were just completely ecstatic. Like the video, I sometimes like get reminded of it and I go find it and watch it because it's just like so cool to see their joy in that first sale.
It's very inspiring.
It just like I feel like tears welling behind my eyes when I think about it, because it's so cool, and that they're not the only one that's experiencing that is fucking awesome.
Exactly.
So I see another question. We have a couple of them. I will take a question from Neuros. When you first joined the NFT crypto world, what was your impression of cryptocurrency?
When I first joined, it was 2017, so it had just spiked, and it was still very confusing. But as I've slowly gotten into it, I'm really enjoying it, and I think it's a great way for the future ahead, because it's internet, online, international, and digital, and everything's going digital. So it's I really enjoy it now, and now I'm trying to get everyone to buy cryptocurrency. My mother-in-law well, not my mother-in-law yet, but future mother-in-law is going to be buying Bitcoin soon.
That's awesome. Yeah, how are your friends and family receiving this world? Like, when you told them about, like, oh, I just sold this piece and I'm getting commission on $8,600 now, like a day later.
Yeah, they're really proud, but also I think quite astounded, because it's like it's happened beneath everything else, and it's suddenly you're hearing about cryptocurrency a lot, and it's just bloomed really recently. So now I've sent NFTs to my family so that they can sell them later, and I'm sending cryptocurrency and getting them to save cryptocurrency and everything. So I think they're getting into it now.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you can't, it's not something that you can convince people of. It's like they figure it out in their own time. They get it,
they have to,
or they don't.
And
I'm sure, now with the success that you've had, it's like it's hard for them to not believe that this is real. And
exactly.
Now with NBA Top Shot being so popular now, I feel like that's gonna just bring a lot of attention to the space. And I'm curious now, like, when you think about all these like really high valuable collectibles that people who are new to this space are like really interested in that, do you think that's gonna maybe change the landscape of crypto art for artists, or not so much? Like,
having collectibles, I think it'll just be more options for people. I think it's good.
Yeah.
It's like when you're kids and you like to collect, I don't know, stickers or whatever. I used to collect stickers.
Yeah.
Maybe hopefully kids can collect stuff online. That'd be cool. Because then you can actually like sell it and make money.
I wish I still had my Lisa Frank stickers, and that they were worth. Or you might be too young for Lisa Frank. And actually, a lot of our viewers are probably too young for Lisa Frank. So forget I said anything. Point is, I wish that those stickers were NFTs at the time, because I would be a bazillionaire from that. So we have a question from Amabel Tierra. She says, when you first joined the crypto world, were there any obstacles, if any, and what were those obstacles? And I'll add to that, how did you move past them?
I think just building a community and finding people who like my artwork. Like, if you're active and good with social media, it's not too difficult, because then you just keep at it the whole time. But it's a lot of work. You kind of have to be available on social media all day. Not on it the whole day, but available. And engage with people who ask you questions or send you messages. So it wasn't a difficult obstacle, but it takes a while to get established and to find people.
And you had mentioned that Twitter was like your main tool before, but do you have a Discord community or any other space where that you communicate with your followers?
I have Discord channels and that I'm a part of, but I don't have my own one. I hadn't thought of that actually. But I'm also very bad at Discord. So
I mean, you have to find what tools work best for you. Discord might not, if you don't like Discord, then the people that you want to work with aren't going to like it either. Or, if you don't like what you're doing, then you're not going to engage with them. So you have to find the space that works best for you to communicate with people,
Yeah. No, I like Discord. I just, it's a lot of...
It's confounding a little bit. Yeah.
And there's lots of channels.
Yeah. There's just like constant notifications, and it's hard to know where to focus sometimes. But I've been getting used to it since I work on it now. But I hear you on that. It can just be like a lot. But yeah, so sounds like the response to that is just to be on Twitter and talk about your work as if you're talking about your best friend, and so that you say nice things
yourself.
Yes, that's
put on a persona. Just be who you are, because art is very personal, and you want to show people who you are.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that all the artists that have been wildly successful in this space, it's because they're just doing what feels good to them and sharing it.
Yeah, no, that's very important.
Yeah, and it sounds counterintuitive because we've been conditioned to, like you have to work hard and you have to work 1 million hours and you have to do shit you don't want to do if you want to be successful. Exactly. It's not true. It is a big lie.
I mean, you still have to work hard, but
yes,
but it's not work if you like it.
Yes, and it's not true that you have to spend years doing stuff that you don't really want to do. At least not anymore. Not with space like this.
Now you finally get freedom, which is wonderful.
Yeah. We had another question from Lang. He was asking do you use any funnels like to analyze from your social medias to creation, like to see where it's best to talk with your fans about your work? So it's sort of a similar question. Like, do you have a sort of funnel where you, I guess in like corporate world, it's like a marketing funnel? Do you have any tools like that, like where you pull people and then contact them?
Yeah, I do everything on Twitter mostly. It's worked well, so I haven't really needed to compare. And I don't really know what a funnel is except for the actual thing.
The actual funnel. Yes, the actual funnel for cooking. Yeah, no. We don't have to get into that, but basically it's for anyone else who is unfamiliar with that term, it's like it's actually a pretty helpful tool if you're trying to attract clients. Basically it would work like you have people that join your email list, and then you have people that are maybe in your Facebook group or on your Twitter, and then like the next level of the funnel would be like people who pay for your product or services, and then the next level would be like whatever your main goal is, like whatever your top value offering is. If the funnel gets smaller and smaller with the people who've already invested at different levels to work with you, that's that's kind of what, in a nutshell, what a funnel is your pool of your pool. It looks like you didn't need to though. Like your strategy, the strategy was just putting yourself out there, and that really does work for a lot of people. But
I'm very active on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Maybe too active.
No, it really works for artists though, because if you're not active, you get lost in the shuffle. And when you are thinking more, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're thinking more strategically and you're totally new and you're not really, you don't really like using Twitter, or you're not really used to using it, or whatever tool to communicate with people, creating a funnel and having a system of knowing what your offerings are and where you can attract specific people for specific things that you're offering. Sometimes people need that if things haven't been working for them. Like that's a way to organize. Getting more work for yourself and making more money.
That's a great plan. Yeah. I think a lot of the people, the collectors and artists, are on Twitter though, so I think Twitter is kind of a very good starting point. Yeah,
I agree. The entire crypto space is really just super active on there. I think it's a 24-hour cycle of things going on. So yeah, you have to pay attention to it. But I agree that's like the main source of information about the crypto world, and where you're going to find out about more crypto artists and more people who are now interested in NFTs. If you're sharing your work and it's an NFT, definitely hashtag NFT, because these new people are just trying to find more information about it. So that would be a way to be seen if you're a new artist. So we have a question from Ektarani. They asked, how do you feel here in the whale community?
Yeah, no, great. I'm really enjoying it. One of my first collectors was whale shark, actually. So
I noticed that. Yeah, whale shark is great. And also I noticed that 2 of your pieces are actually owned by some of our own moderators. Let me see if I can pull them up. Odin now owns your Odin piece, from what I remember. I saw that last night. Yes. I was like, what?
And Thor, he bought Thor as well.
Yeah, hold on, let me pull it up. I thought that was so cool. I was like, oh, shoot. And Rude Moose also owns, I think she owns your second piece.
Okay.
Hold on, let me pull this up. I think she owns Steve the Unicorn. Yep. Rude Moose owns Steve the Unicorn. And where's Odin? Oh, and this is the piece that's in the vault.
Oh, nice.
Nice. I'm a Libra, so I love this.
Oh, good.
Hold on, where's Odin?
Yeah, scales are kind of boring to draw, so I had to think of something.
That was super cool. Yeah, that's my favorite Libra thing I've seen. Like, I'm not being hyperbolic, because it's always scales, and I'm like, it's just weird to be an inanimate object on the here it is. Here's Odin. It's weird to be an inanimate object on the astrology chart.
No, especially when others are all interesting. Like
yeah.
Animals and stuff.
Yeah, this one's really cool. What was the inspiration behind doing some Norse gods?
I love mythology.
Yeah.
And there's a book called Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman, which I read not too long ago. That's really great.
Neil Gaiman's awesome.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Let me just make sure. Okay, so she said, how do you feel in the whale community? The chat is just very active, so I want to make sure I got all the questions from them. Because we're already approaching, it's been 50 minutes already. I can't believe how fast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like the hour just flies. So do you have any advice for new crypto artists? Like, is there anything that you wish you knew when you started?
I think that if you persevere and keep doing what you're doing and the art you like, as long as it's something you're passionate about, you just keep going and it will work. But you can't stop or give up.
Mm-hmm. And you have to put yourself out there.
Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm. Be active on Twitter and share a lot of the things you do, even if it's just sort of random things, and information about yourself as well. People like to know about the artist.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, like, and just being authentic in that too. Like, you don't have to make it look like you're more or less professional than you are, or whatever professional means.
No, I don't think people really care about that anymore. Well, not yet.
No, that's what's so cool. You get to be 100% yourself in the crypto space. Okay.
And then I think also, sorry, yeah?
No, go ahead. I was going to say your weird, wonderful self. Like, you don't have to hide anything. Yeah.
Because that's what makes you unique, and that's what will make you stand out.
Yeah, and I noticed too, like, a lot of artists are multi-talented. It's not like they're only a visual artist. They might make music, or they're a coder also. There's like all kinds of, I feel like there's like pressure to pick one thing when you are presenting yourself online.
Yeah, but you don't have to. You can do whatever you want. I'm not.
No.
I wish I could do music, but I can't.
You're still young. You have lots of time to explore all kinds of creative endeavors.
I like writing though. Like with the more recent artworks, I try to write like a short poem to accompany them.
Oh, that's really cool. And
Thanks.
I mean, I feel like one of the things you haven't seen so much in NFT space is something for writers. So, I feel like
I've been thinking about that.
Yeah, like we have like music and photography, but what about like poetry and like books or
exactly.
essays?
I'm hoping that will become a part of it.
It's funny. I never thought about that until now. And so, speaking of future endeavors, what's next for you? Do you have any upcoming projects or drops that you want to let us know about?
I have an upcoming project, but it hasn't fully been announced, so you'll hear about it soonish. But I can't say anything yet.
So it's a secret. All right.
But it's very exciting.
And when can we expect to hear more about that on Twitter?
Probably in the next month, in March sometime.
Okay, cool. So everybody, I'm putting the links in the chat again. Make sure you follow Daniella on Twitter and keep your ear to the ground for that. And is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we part ways? Oh, wait. Pause. There's one more question. Oh, no, that's a question for the room. I'm sorry. They were asking how are there not copyright issues with, how can an NFT be of an artist or something similar? Isn't there copyright issues?
I mean, there might be, but are people going to follow up on it?
I think maybe they're asking about like your remix art of
well, those
famous
are all,
pieces.
So the copyright, I think, doesn't apply when the people aren't alive. I think. But
yes, no, that's true.
Stuff, like I did movie posters and things, which I guess would apply. But there's quite a lot of fan art type stuff on the NFT market. I guess we could get in trouble for it, but that's just for fun.
That's kind of a gray area. Like I'm not a IP intellectual property lawyer, but I feel like when it comes to like the Mona Lisa and Starry Night, like these are now what's known as oh gosh, what's the word I'm thinking?
I don't think the old ones really count so much because they're really old.
Yeah, they're fair use because they're considered oh my gosh, the word is slipping my mind. But
public domain.
It's public domain. Yes, that is the word.
Yeah, like with all like classical music as well. You can use it. But I guess with the newer stuff, that's probably is a gray area.
Yeah.
But hopefully no one catches me.
And I feel like your poster for I keep scrolling past it. The Fight Club poster. I mean, you're using likenesses of characters, but this is totally your style. Like.
And that's like I have made my own image.
Yeah.
But it's still not my idea.
Yeah.
But I think with creative people, I don't think they necessarily care too much. It depends. As long as it's not like Disney or Marvel, I don't think people really care too much.
Yeah, it's not like the people who just like took CryptoPunks and decided to sell them on another chain. And like this is all. Well, this is yours. I just clicked this because it looked cool. This is not a copywritten piece, I don't think. Yeah. Like Nightmare said, Beeple goes hard with Disney. Yeah, it's very true.
Like, also, NFTs are really new, so I feel like Disney are not monitoring it yet.
Maybe they're not monitoring it, but I'm sure once Disney gets a whiff of how much money Beeple is making, I don't know. We'll see where that goes. But I think because he makes the art, his own. There's definitely a gray area.
Also, he's making like a kind of comment on things a lot of the time.
Yes, exactly.
So you can't make a comment without referencing the thing you commented on.
Yeah, I don't think we have any actual IP law experts in here. It would be cool though, because I'm really curious. Like, what is the line between, like, yes, you can use this likeness of this licensed character or this idea, but yeah, Nightmare is saying it's a huge gray area, fair use and satire. Disney is actually the driving force for an extension of copyright laws because the Mickey Mouse IP is almost in public domain. Oh, that's fucking interesting. Okay, well, it's getting close to the end. We'll make sure, I think, if anyone else has any questions or comments, we'll just remind people to follow you on Twitter for this new secret project that you can't share with us yet. Keep your ears to the ground in the next month. Yeah, so thanks so much, Daniella, for being here and for sharing so honestly with us. And
That's a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and definitely come back. As in addition to sharing on Twitter, you can always come into our channel or our server and share any new work that you've got going on. We would love to hear more from you, and we can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks everybody for your presence, and have a magical day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.